Yes, it is time for us to dig deep into the executive order of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is signed last week, directing NNPCL and other subsidiaries to start remitting revenues generated from oil and gas industry into the Federation account. According to the order, this will safeguard and enhance revenues from oil and gas for the Federation, curb wasteful spending, and eliminate duplication of structures in the industry. The order is also expected to restore constitutional entitlement to federal, state, and local government, which was taken away in the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021. This particular executive order on the remittance of revenues generated from oil and gas is generating so many reactions from major players in the industry, and people are wondering as to why people are reacting negatively to this executive order of Mr. President. We have with us in the studio this morning.
Really? Okunade, your friend, you forgot his name. Okunade, this morning.
There's no name on my
do you need to look at the paper before you give his
Okay, Bola, thank you for saving me. Sheson, it's a pleasure to have you and compliment of the season.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, you guys are just seeing this.
Yes.
So it's part of the reason. So it's a very long break, and I understand the goodies my friend has actually. It's enough to take his name off. Nice.
Okay, the executive order came from Mr. President last week, and we have seen reactions from different quarters, Pengasan, management of NNPCL. But let us examine the wider implication of this executive order in terms of revenue generation, transparency, and of course, making the oil and gas industry better generally.
Okay, thank you very much. The presidential order, to me, I think I'm seeing it in more of positive light, irrespective of the reaction that people might be getting a day. Currently, we all know that NNPCL is being privatized, the way they call it. They say it's a commercial arm. Well, let's get something right fundamentally. Who are the shareholders? It's still government that is fully owning it. The Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Petroleum hold in trust, those fundamental things for the government. So who dictate the tunes is the owner that actually owns it, and Mr. President happens to be the Minister of Petroleum who presides over the activities of everything. Before now, we've seen a lot of things that people thought would have given a good inroad into what a normal commercial activity should be, but we discovered that most of the funds are actually we are seeing so much of duplication in terms of percentage that are actually been taken. Is it in terms of the revenue, the expenditure, operating, royalty, and the likes? And don't forget one thing: as we speak, the only major source of revenue for the government is still this oil and gas. And if activities are not streamlined, then definitely majority of the promises being given by the leaders currently will definitely be jeopardized. So the executive order, as far as I'm concerned, has come handy. And what are we actually looking at? Let's concentrate every revenue that is coming in from this sector. Every administration comes with this idea of saying, let's centralize the way revenue is actually being collected. And if possible, you have an idea of what is actually coming to the bottom line. Even if it's going to be misappropriated, we know definitely that is a stream. The last administration introduced the aspect of TSA, and say every revenue, respective of what it may looks like, must go into the account. Then from there, we can look at how we're going to distribute it. Same thing is what this executive order seems to be addressing, to say we want every revenue that wants to come in to come into the mainstream, and from there, we'll be able to now have idea of how this will be allocated and share or manage within it. The argument people are putting forth, maybe from NNPCL and the likes, is something that is baffling to me. It should be an atmosphere of you presenting your budget to the owner of the organization at every other agency we do, and they come accountable, to those that owns the organization. But I feel that Mr. President has seen through some of the challenges, which speaks to some of the intro of leakages, duplication of effort. Don't forget that's the same thing that the fiscal policy people tends to put together to say we don't want this issue of duplicating revenue. Different agencies are collecting the same revenue. Why can't we have it streamlined into one so that, you know, this is the ministry that is generating this revenue and this is what it is. So when there are duplication, a directorate understand the fact that the major aim is to have a single thing. So as far as I'm concerned, I think is a right step in the right direction. Whether the funds will be properly managed, that's a discussion for another thing.
Right. So part of the discord that I also think we have here, of course, is the fact that the State House released a press release yesterday saying that this is constitutional. And looking at, because the other, especially Pengasin, are saying that this is a violation of the PIA Act. And under the PIA Act, which is the current framework, NNPCL retains 30% of the Federation's oil revenue, of course, to them as a management fee on profit oil and profit gas derived from production sharing contracts. But of course, this was not in the constitutional revenue for the state and local government before the PIA was instituted. But now the presidency is saying we're going back to what the Constitution really created or really stipulated as to how this is done. But when you look at the workability of the PIA and the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which Mr. Ononuga says in any ways the Constitution supersedes the PIA, is this also a way of faulting the PIA as it stands?
Yeah, you see, I will not say outrightly we are faulting PIA. Most of these reforms come as a way of improving, you know,
what's on ground,
what you have on ground. Okay. But you allude to it that our major problem most of the time is everybody interprets this same law in different manner in the way that favors you. And that's why we've had this critical issue. The 30% being set aside as management fee by NNPCL, you ask yourself, that's just one out of several. How have they been able to account for it? If NNPCL is actually being taken as a commercial arm, which you and I know what is obtainable, do we have rendition of their account annually, speaking to that in the public domain? Have they been acting in that good faith that speaks to the fact that funds that were actually being deducted, because what PIA stands to do is to like ease the burden of saying let's have easy access for easy operation. Haven't been able to get that? The answer is no. NNPCL, as we speak, should be that arm of the government that would have improved, you know, the lot of the people, but they are not doing that. Well, it's the stake of our refinery as we speak. That should be a focus of every GMD, if you ask me. Speaking the arm that, okay, we have access to the raw material. How can we refine it to better the lot of the common man? You are having so much management fee. How have you been able to account for this to say, let's justify what we are collecting on behalf from the government as from the profit and make account of it? I have not seen progress. PIA is to make good in, you know, most of the law at times are always for good intentions. But when it comes to implementation, everybody sit down, look at it, because for every law, I keep saying it, there are always lacuna, there are always loopholes. People look at the loopholes, cash out on it, and see how they can use that to their own benefit. Because as far as I'm concerned, right from the time that we signed this PIA, by now we should be seeing a great progress. And what is the progress that Nigeria is saying? Can we have even one or two of our refineries functioning? Then people can now say, okay, some of the dividend of this PIA is working out. Have we seen the loss? Better, you know, creating better life for some of the communities where some of these crude oils are actually being. There are sections of the PIA that speaks to it, but I can tell you that as we speak, majority of them are still crying, you know, complaining of several things that is impacting on their life. So if things are not working the way it should, I think best thing is to go back to status quo, readdress the issue, and let's see how we can make way forward from it.
Okay, Sheson, Abimbola read a release from the State House earlier. I'm quoting a particular section of that order now, which says that, of that release, which says that the executive order is also expected to restore constitutional entitlement to federal, state, and local government, which was taken away in the Petroleum Industry Act of 2021. This implies that states and local government will be getting more money from the Federation account now. And lately, or before now, after the removal of fuel subsidy, states and local government were getting more funds. But people are worried that the federal government is just giving allocation to states and local governments, and we cannot see measurable impact compared to what they are earning from the federation accounts in terms of development, in terms of impacting the people at the subnational level. Are you afraid that the governors or local government chairmen are going to make judicious use of these revenues that they're going to get more from the federal government?
Jibola, your worry is as high as mine, with the level at which a lot of people have even criticized with the analyst that supported the subsidy removal. Because a lot of us thought with the removal of the subsidy and the intention of Mr. President to empower the regional base, I mean the subnational, we will get so much dividends in terms of things that are happening. But reverse is the case. So maybe for few that we can pinpoint that they are actually utilizing this the way it should be. And that's where it gives cause for concern with these more funds coming into the federation account. I think the route to go is if the federal government that is disbursing the funds refuse to monitor what is being disbursed, I think the citizen has the right to ask questions. And a lot of us have asked this severally to say, how many of us is aware of the budget allocation for the state where you either reside or the state where you come from? How many of us ask questions? Everything points to the center. We hardly ask question. How many for all have you seen the subnational put things together and ask, give opportunity for people to make input into what they're doing, criticize, maybe for a few states? And how often do we get this out? There should be constant town hall meeting where people come to give account of stewardship of things that they have been doing. And I think that's the gap where we have some of these things happening. It is, to me, a good intention to empower the subnational. Because this morning I was on a particular station and I was speaking to the level of insecurity. People will come and say, go to Borno, there is a high level of insecurity, things are not working. If you get to the capital of Borno State, which is Maiduguri, there is peace in that particular state. Where are the problem coming from? These suburbs, where there are lack of governance. Tomorrow you will hear there is attack in Zamfara. Go to the capital of Zamfara. Go to where the elites are staying. Nobody is going in that direction. It is where there is failure of governance. Because look at the last attack that happened, was it in Kaduna, where you have to drive about 6 hours before you get to that location. That was where the local government said there was no attack. Police initially came, nothing happened, and they came to retract that particular statement. It's to tell you that if we empower the states, by my own ideology, the state and the local government, we will be able to ask questions from them. The fixing of the road, is it the federal government that will come and fix the road on your street? Is the responsibility of the local government chairman? Is the responsibility of the state to fix the major road? Then we can feel the impact of governance. I think we should readdress our approach to things. A lot of concentration on the center, federal. I think we should start asking questions. So much revenue, and I will always tell people that care to listen. For us in Lagos, majority of the funds that we get, at least we can see the impact. Look at the foundation laid by the current president, Asiwaju, for RRS. You can see that has fortified, the police architecture in Lagos, the neighborhood watch. And it didn't just stop to say we are going to get this revenue. There is a trust fund that is created that are the private-public partnership for you to consolidate. This morning I was going to a particular station, and each time I go through Alausa here at the RRS office, I looked at the magnitude of the pickup, the officers that are there, and I'm like, are these guys on the payroll of federal or state?
States.
It is. And you can look at this, the spontaneous response that they give at times. And that's why I said, if you empower the subnational, it's to the benefit of everyone. Each time I look at insecurity, a governor will run to Aso Rock and say, Mr. President, I ask myself the question, the security vote that is given to you, what is it used for? You understand the mechanism. Let me tell you, maybe for us in Lagos, we have multilingual stuff. But for some certain states, you need an indigene who understand the language.
And
so when you are planning certain things, I understand what you're saying. I cannot be a different ethnic person. It's not everything you speak in English. Right. As a matter of fact, if you and I travel out of this country and we want to beat those foreigners, are we going to be speaking in English? The answer is no. So if I intend to build the security in your locality, I will not come up to speak English to you. It's just to come up in my local dialect and say that. So if you are a foreigner that do not understand the terrain and the language, you are beaten to it, and information is power. They are discussing by your side on how to attack. You don't even know what they are saying. In fact, you might even be smiling and be applauding them when they are out to kill you. So that's why we are of the opinion that if we can empower the subnational, what is currently lacking is accountability on part of the leaders at the subnational. And if you can put that to place, I can tell you a lot of those are the things that we enjoy during the likes of Babaja Konde, during the likes of Aolo. A lot of us are able to have access to free education, free health care, primary health center are out there in all local government, and it's as if we are living in overseas with what they are having. So let's empower the subnational. And I love what Mr. President said yesterday when he had an evening with the governors, of saying that he wants to make sure that state police work. If we can get that right, we will now put pressure on the state governor to create community policing, because the local government and the state government will by then would have been empowered with so much resources to carry out this, because a secured environment is a prosperous nation.
Right. So if we look at this executive order, which of course you give thumbs up to at the beginning of this conversation, can we also see it as part of the ongoing fiscal reforms of this administration? Yeah,
I will say yes. A lot of things I think need a rejig, and you asked what suddenly happened. This PIA was supposed to be a plus. Now reverse is the case, and that's why we have said that we need to put up a mechanism, a system that check the progress of some of these policies, some of these reforms, and be bold enough if things are not working as planned to go back to status quo and readdress the issue. That is the way I feel it should go. But one thing we lack as we speak, there is no proper monitoring of some of the implementation of some of these things. People have already started asking us questions. They said the new tax reform, we take off people off the streets, collecting the levies and all the likes. Have they implemented this? People will tell you, just you are the one that said there won't be Agbero on the road to collect tickets. But we are still saying that. How much have we actually put together to monitor this and communicate back to the citizen the progress we have? We know it's not something that will come 100% at the blow and say, we are starting now, and you fizzle those things out. We must be able to come and give, continuous communication to the people on the progresses that we are making on this part of some of the reforms that we are speaking to. Otherwise, people will come and tell you that that reform is dead on arrival, because we know the route at which the previous one has actually, because there is a gap of monitoring and reporting, giving feedback even to the people that we are leading.
Okay, still on the reforms of this current administration led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, that will take me to the new tax laws of the federal government. You talked about streamlining revenue generation the other time, and that was why we had the name of the Federal Inland Revenue Service changed to Nigeria Revenue Service. So are these also some of the dividends of this new tax law, like Abimbola cited, in some of the reform of the federal government?
Yes, it's part of the dividend, because what NRS stands for now is the Revenue Collection Agencies for the government. So all other sub are like directorate. Before now we know them to be only for taxes, but now it's their revenue collection agencies where all the levies, port fees and the like come underneath them. And what this will do is that on part of business owners, this multiplicity of taxes and levies can now be streamlined. It's very much impossible under NRS, where a directorate will be issuing out. In fact, anything you need to issue out must go out through the chairman, and the chairman must be hands-on to say, this thing that you're actually presenting to us, another directorate under my purview is having the same thing. Can we consolidate this and make this happen? So it's part of the dividend, and a lot of us have been saying that it's not about revenue collection that this reform should speak to. We should have issues where we can speak to the revenue being collected. People are seeing the dividend. I saw on social media this morning NRS, congratulating and appreciating taxpayer for allowing them to, surpass their target for 2025 by having 28.5 trillion, billion to as revenue collected for that agency, giving another set target of over 40 billion. So I feel, aside having that figure, what are these funds actually being used for? We can look at the revenue from the oil sector. We can look at the revenue from the fiscal side. What impact is this actually contributing to the common man on the road? I tell you that the best way to get taxes is when people are seeing the dividend of some of the things that they are paying for. I always go back to when we have the former governor of Lagos State, Fashola. He will tell you taxpayers
at work,
money at work. And you can look at it and you'll be encouraged. I can tell you that even the revenue board at that particular time saw a lot of people, voluntarily complying, because you can talk about a lot of development, and that we want to continue, so that when people see the dividend, I should not think about the issue of water. I should not think I'm actually putting a challenge to Lagos State. Can we start looking for a way to generate our electricity and give people this electricity with the 2 discos that we have? Because when you have security, you have energy at your disposal. Bimbola, is more or less, what do people travel abroad to go and do? They have power supply. Nobody thinks about you taking supply out of space. Right. So if government can invest more, and that's why I said empower the subnational in such a way that I can take decision to say this is the state I want to go and reside.
They're empowered already.
They are empowered already.
They have more funds.
And aside the funds, I think they've also remembered that before late President Muhammadu Buhari left office, he actually signed that states can now generate their own power. And I think Lagos State is already working on something like that.
When I say empower, part of the things I want is how much are we monitoring? Majority of these things are always good on paper.
Should the federal government still be monitoring the states, the subnationals, when they hand over more money or more opportunities for them to thrive?
You should. It should be a two-edged sword. The citizen will take one side, and government will disburse the funds. There should be what I will call performance appraisal of some of the funds. It's your right. You are not disputing it. It's just like saying that, well, it's my right to collect salary, but how I use the money is none of your business. But there is a caveat. If you expend your funds beyond the way it should be, you are prone at actually going other way around to explore some of the assets of the organization to your advantage to do it. And that's why I'm of the opinion that the government should not just release their hands. We know they have the constitutional right to manage some of those things, but as what I will call the elder statesman, can we ask questions? Because everything still comes back to the federal government. Right. When there are failures at the subnational, people don't look at them, they look at it. We should be even, because I know that on monthly basis there are FAC allocations being announced to the whole world that this is what is coming to your state, this is what is coming to your state, and everybody is saying we should start asking questions from the governors, what they do with the money, and the autonomy that has been given to the local government. What impact are they actually creating in your area that will make life more meaningful for you?
Let's come back to the executive order, and one of the associations kicking against this and asking the Mr. President to revert the order is Pengasin. And amongst other things, they have also said that this could erode investor confidence in the sector. Do you agree with that?
The question I want to ask is that with the PIA and the implementation of it, how many investors have we actually attracted? if you have attracted so much, I don't think the presidency will have that strong will to say, oh no, let's take off the winning approach to things. I'm sure it's the failure that is necessitating this reversal
order
that we are having. If things are working the way it should, we should be able to see. If we are talking about it, Pengassan has been there, and that's why a lot of us have asked them the question. They've been there. They are part of some of the rots a lot of us are accusing them of. How much of our refinery at this point in time can we speak to? We are talking about eroding foreign investment. Even when you are empowered, you are given so much allocation from this revenue. We have not had just a single refinery. A lot of us have been saying it. Don't blame Dangote refinery. It's a private individual who had the boldness, took the risk to carry out that. You have the resources of the government at your disposal to make things work. You can come up and start competing with him, or you hand it over to make it a PPP arrangement. Where to it. So as far as I'm concerned, a lot of us have said it. The labor union, their role that a lot of us citizens expected them to do, they are not doing it. We are not feeling the impact, and that's why when there are times call out that people should come, it is their union that they have actually taken care of. A lot of people will not follow them because we expected that by now there should be pressure from NLC, from Pegasus and other union on holding government accountable in fixing our refineries. If we have two of these refineries, it is simple. When you have more supply being pumped into the system, possibly Dangote will just tell you that I don't even want to do anything in Nigeria. I would rather refine my product and send to neighboring country. Let Nigeria with their two refineries satisfy their own people the way they choose to go. But as we speak, you are leaving us in the hand of the man that is taking the bold step to give us that benefit. So Pengassan should rise up to that responsibility, work things throughout, and possibly before the end of this year, be telling us that we have one or two refinery working. Then we can give them thumbs up on things that they're doing. But as it is, I'm in support of the executive order because things are not working the way it should be, and we need, implementation of things that will create more life to people. These things are not hard. I'm sure when you go to monetary policy, they will tell you the forces of demand and supply are things that make things work. Same is applicable here. If we have more refined product being pushed into the system, definitely the prices will definitely pour. Competition will start happening. A lot of people will say, it seems we have more refinery. Let me sell mine at a discount.
At cheaper rates.
Look at the deregulation that we've seen. Some filling stations are now adjusting to things. Everybody now looks at the price and say, okay, this one is 839. No, that one is 835.
Let me buy it.
Is their pump. That 4 naira means a lot to several set of people. That's what competition will bring to bear. If we have more refinery functioning, if the government cannot manage it, give it to the private sector who understand the business. Then we can talk about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let them start competing. In that particular, you will see that the price of the refined product will definitely crash on its own.
Okay, so still on Pengassan, the union is also arguing that the directive will cripple the company's ability, NNPCL now, to fund operations and fulfill its statutory obligations, including contributions to the Frontier Exploration Fund, critical for hydrocarbon exploration in 2026.
My question is, why is Pengassan fighting for
NNPCL? Or is that a connivance somewhere?
Well, whether connivance, the question is NNPCL is a company on its own.
Right.
They have their management. Let them speak for themselves. You are speaking on their behalf of crippling investment and all other things, their operation. How much have they spoken on the part of the citizen to come and give explanation of what I just said the other time? You cannot be taking side, and it speaks volume of what a lot of us will say that they are benefiting from it. Otherwise, the truth remains that we expected a lot. The last administration promised that within the end of that 8 years, possibly we have like 2 refineries functioning. Up till now, we don't even have one.
We had dress rehearsals of
in Port Harcourt.
It came up and collapsed. So of what value it is, I'm sure if the management gave you a set target here and you did that, I'm sure if you are not behind the bar, it will be a different place. So these are things we keep asking. So if Pengerson is asking for this for NNPCL, my question is, NNPCL is a commercial organization. They should speak for themselves and not union speaking on their behalf. Is it that they are protecting the interests of their the union members of so much money that they're actually making out of what the citizens should benefit from? Right. So as far as I'm concerned, what they are actually asking, or whether it will cripple the activity or not, the value that we have the funds that we've given to them before now, people are not getting value for it. And if you don't get value for something, you can't continue to do the same thing the same way and expect a different result. Let's have a redirection of it, and let's have, you know, an opportunity to now ask questions. Possibly when it's difficult for operation to happen, people will now come out and say, Mr. President, these are the problems we were facing with the PIA. It can work, but these are the bottlenecks. Right. If you can streamline this, we will walk in line to give dividend of it. But I think it's a good approach to take the bull by the horn. Let NNPCL cries out, and every one of us will ask the question of what they are doing. A lot of us have given them that responsibility of even resuscitating. If you can't do it alone, you know, have collaboration with private organizations. Do that, and let's see one refinery functioning to complement what Dangote is doing. Then maybe with that we can start talking in the next 2, 3, 4 years. The model you use in resuscitating one can be applied to others that will not have 2, 3. You can have 4 good refineries not working, and we are coming to say you cripple out the operation. Let the operation cripple. Government will look at other way. NRS is there to generate more revenue for us, and we know that the oil sector is not out to give us what we have, and we do other things right.
So with this executive order and the call on government to also exhibit financial discipline, is this also a path that will help government you know, imbibe the spirit of fiscal discipline in Nigeria?
It should, but currently, with the way and manner the anti-graft agency and those agencies responsible in having an oversight function on our spending is actually working, we not allow that fiscal discipline to actually come to bear. A lot of, as we speak, and I will continue to say it, a lot of misappropriation of funds is actually still going on. And we are not asking questions. We are not asking questions. Until we start asking questions from the people that are saddled with this responsibility of managing our funds, we may go nowhere. And that is the major. I keep telling people that care to listen, this country is blessed.
Right.
If we are disciplined and we do what is needful, every citizen, as we speak, just as we compare ourselves to countries like Norway, we would definitely look at the solid mineral that we are blessed with in this country. All we hear every day is illegal miners, illegal miners. I've asked myself the question, though, those illegal miners, are they angels that you cannot just follow through and have some of those? So you can imagine golds that is actually being illegally being mined in Zamfara, if it's judiciously being recouped and deposited into government coffers, how those things will be. And when those funds comes in, how much are we able to ask questions? Citizens are not asking questions, and I think it's based on antecedent. When you ask too much question, a lot of people will ask, they will not answer. If they want to provide answer to you, you may just suddenly get missing. People will say, you better keep your... So I think government should be more transparent, and when people ask questions, just provide the explanation. And I'll give thumb up to Taiwo Yedele. During this tax reform, suddenly, I asked him, Mr. Preacher, any little, even on TikTok, on Instagram, ask question, Taiwo is out there to answer you. That is what a responsible government is supposed to do. People are bound to ask, even when you are doing it right, they are bound to ask questions. Make yourself available. Don't say that I answered that question yesterday. Government officials should not do that. A lot of them arrogate that arrogance and say that question has actually been answered. And it's not that I'm actually marketing Taiwo or giving. Taiwo say, oh, no. I know you didn't understand. Even though that question has been asked, let me simplify it for you. That is what we are expecting from government official. We will definitely ask questions because it's about taxpayers' money, it's about some of our earning. And if things are not done the way it should be done, then definitely businesses will crumble, and what we'll be seeing is that there won't be any hope for the upcoming generation. And Japa will just be a more thing. I've asked myself the question, a lot of people that have Japa out of this country, if they give you that, they will tell you that home is still home. There are better things for us to do here, but because of one fundamental thing, insecurity and power, they prefer to be at the other end. I'm sure each time we travel, we don't think about power supply. Most of the time I take off myself. Once I just get in outside the country, I say, please give me charge. They say, Edmond, use your phone to 0% now. Nobody will come. You will charge it. They are not taking that line. But yeah, as soon as you are getting, you carry your power bank around everywhere you go. I think if government can address these two critical things, it will speak volume to our health sector, because even if health sector must survive, where is the power to make it run? Because those equipments rely solely on that. And if there is insecurity, how do I make move to get to where I will have access to some of those facilities? How do we have access to? Now education is going beyond what we read in the book. A lot of people need access to online activity. You know, and the only way you can have it, you can't be going around with dead phone. This phone is now our class. A lot of us don't attend physical classes again. We have a lot of classes going on. So if you can speak to power, you can speak to security. I'm telling you, food will be available for everything now. The level of high cost of food is because of the level of insecurity. Right. So government should be intentional. And each time I have opportunity to talk, the only thing I request for Mr. President are two things: security and power. A lot of people have said that, am I after the current Minister of Power? No, it's my very good brother and a professional colleague. I think Mr. President can consider maybe for the next 1 year an alternative so that he can concentrate on his gubernatorial affair. Because a lot are happening in the power sector that we are not pleased with. If things must actually go the right, it should go. Okay,
so while Mr. President and members of his team are trying to fix power and the problem of security in the country, this bold move by Mr. President signing this executive order, is it going to attract investors into the oil and gas industry of the country?
Jibola, my question, my response to that issue of this foreign investment is that, can we even empower locals with some of the policies that we have? Go to China. How many foreign direct investment do they have there? They actually sell their intents. They go to other countries and see how they can reciprocate what they have actually achieved in
their country.
When it comes to foreign direct investment, we have locals that have the technical know-how, the expertise. Maybe you'll be importing some of the equipment in to make things happen. Let's first concentrate on how we can achieve a lot. Our younger generation have the skill, the intellectual capacity to make things happen. How much are we empowering them? When there is no power, how do you expect the young guy to wake up at the middle of the night to be creative on things that he can bring out to him? That will not work. So when time we keep talking about this foreign direct investment, I've been part of the people that say, Mr. President, please minimize this. Stay internally. When we fix things, the foreign direct investment will come. When you are very good, you don't market yourself. People will market you.
Absolutely.
They said the bee, attracts, the honey attracts, some of those good things. If the environment is secure, if our place is very much comfortable, you don't need to go. It is then that will be coming to beg you that, can we, invest in your country? A lot of people will go to China these days, and China protects their citizens. they still make sure that with your foreign direct investment that is coming, our people is our people. And I think that's the route that we want to go. Let government empower our people in such a way that some of those technical know-how behind the scene of some of the successes you are seeing out there in some of these foreign countries are Nigerians.
Right.
So can we attract them back home, guaranteeing them that security is there, power is there, you have the ease of doing business, you can carry out business, and the transparency will be there. They will be better off for it. Each time people talk about foreign direct investment, I will always tell you that make sure you do what is needful. They will come on their own without you going to them.
Okay.
And that's why I will raise that case to respond to that your question.
All right, as we wrap up this conversation this morning, Tanimu Yakubu, who is the DG of the Budget Office of the Federation, who's also the Secretary of the Implementation Committee on the Executive Order 9, is saying that if any party disputes the constitutional validity of the executive order, the judiciary remains the proper forum for determination. Must we always go to court?
It's good to go to court so that they will so if you have your son or your daughter now to be a lawyer, you don't want them to.
So lawyers will eat.
Lawyer must do their own now. Just the same way you have given room for the finance people to document those things. Right. So lawyers too must. Let's go to court. So if you want to challenge it, at least what this threatens, I'm not a lawyer, is that it gives the right perspective to things. You have an independent person giving their view. Although a lot of people will say, what do you expect? The judiciary is an arm of the government. But I know there are a level of independence too on their part to say, well, because posterity will judge if you decide to say what is not right on the part of it. So if anybody is contesting this particular thing, I'm yet to see SAN, some of them are good at this, taking government to court, on a particular executive order. It gives the confidence to say, is the government doing it right? A lot of us might be speaking from the area that we don't have strength on the legislative arm of this executive order. So let them go to court, challenge it. Let the learned people, people like us, we are not learned enough. Let the learned people put their expertise in interpreting that which has happened, and we can bring that to rest and make things the proper way to go.
All right, we'll probably have to leave this conversation here this morning. Thank you so much, Olusesan Okunade, for finding time to be with us here on the program today.
It's always a great time to be with you and Jibola every time.
All right. We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns, Adebimpe will be here with her Lagos conversation.